Hello and welcome to ChinnyVision. This time, it's Vampire. Vampire was one of the first games released by Codemasters. Came out about the same time as Super Robin Hood, programmed by a Spanish programmer, which I'm not going to try and pronounce for fear of offending anyone. But the chap involved went on to program a load of games for Dynamic. So that might give a clue as to where we're heading here with difficulty level. It's quite unusual for a Codemasters game because on some of the versions, at least where I've seen loading screens, there's no Codemasters logo on the loading screen, and it has the feel of a game that has been sent to Codemasters to be published, but then minimal changes have been made once Codemasters have agreed to publish it. 48k beeper tune here, and we go on to the menu screen, options for controls. And off we go. And you control Brock, who's that character running around there. And you have to collect all the different objects on the screen. So you don't always know what the objects are going to do. Sometimes they open doors, close doors. The ultimate aim of the game is to kill Count Dracula. And you've got to collect keys that are hidden around the castle, put them in the locks, and when you do that, you go on to the next part of the castle. It is highly derivative of other games. It's incredibly difficult. You get 2 lives and an energy bar, and we've already knackered our energy down there, so I'm probably going to be dead soon. And you can collect food, which will boost your energy, and when your energy bar gets to the top, you get an extra life, and so on. The game is incredibly difficult, and so what I'm going to do is look at some of the other versions. We've quickly looked at the Spectrum version there. I believe that would have been the base version that everything else is converted from, and you'll see why we're not lingering on that Spectrum version as we go on. It's nothing to do against Specky owners, you'll see why. Moving on to the MSX, doing this version second because this version was kindly sent to me by the Oliver twins, who were doing an attic clear out and posted some games they had online and said anyone who wants a couple of games can have them. So I asked for Vampire and another game, and they kindly sent that to me, so thank you for that. Lovely loading screen on the MSX, really detailed, same as the Specky version. And remember what I said about not dwelling on the Spectrum version? Well, yep, here we are on the MSX, and it's the Spectrum version. Got AY effects, but apart from that, it is absolutely identical. There's a picture of Count Dracula, I was going to say Count Dracula, on the wall there. This game's incredibly difficult. Everything you touch basically loses you energy. Annoyingly, there's 2 controls for jumping, a short jump and a higher jump. The short jump you hold down the joystick downwards for, the higher jump you push up for, so it's up to jump, which is always slightly irritating, and fire activates things, and it's all a little bit annoying because you have to judge what type of jump you need, why you couldn't just have it on fire and hold it down for as long as you need or something like that. It makes the game incredibly difficult when it doesn't need to be difficult. Especially when you're jumping on things like that thing there that goes across. Oh, was that a key up there? I think it was. I'm going to try and get up there. That's a key. I need to collect that. And jumping on this thing here is a complete nightmare. Needs a big jump, and yeah, I've done it. So I've got a key, and that will give me access to doorways. I don't think it's that doorway there. I think there's other doorways around. There's about 80 screens in the game, and I think there's 5 keys that you've got to collect. There's also various switches that you can see flashing up the top there. You can switch, it does stuff. The game really does feel like a Spanish game. All those dynamic games and those other games from Spanish software houses that always look really, really nice, but always have that incredibly high difficulty level. And I know some people love games like Army Moves, and they look really nice, but those games like this are incredibly difficult. And a lot of it's a test of memory, remembering when things are going to drop on you, what things activate what. It's a case of what I've found playing this game. I played it on the Spectrum version, got incredibly frustrated with it. I'm now playing this MSX version, and I'm finding this easier because I've learnt the puzzles and learnt the movements from having played the Spectrum version. So I forwarded this on, and up the top of the screen there is a lock that I put the key in, and now that doorway opens. I'm now through to another section of the game. I've got to say, it's not immediately apparent that was a lock, that I kept on trying to collect that object and wondered why I couldn't pick it up originally. It was only with more exploration that I learnt that there were actual keys that you needed to pick up, and those went on to the key icons. Over to the Commodore 64, and I didn't even think this game came out for the C64. It's got a wonderful David Whittaker theme tune on the title screen here. And will this be a straight port of the Spectrum version as we saw on the MSX as well? Yep, it's exactly the same. No dedicated C64 version here. It's been ported over, plays absolutely identically to the Spectrum and the MSX version. Every single criticism, every single comment I've made about the other versions applies to the C64 version. Missed a trick on the C64 version by not having music throughout the game. They've got that David Whittaker music on the title screen, and they've left it out during the gameplay, which is a real shame for any fans of David Whittaker. I guess the problem with Vampire is it is incredibly difficult, as I've been saying, but also really, okay, you can see why this game wasn't taken up by a full price software house, because there isn't enough here. It feels old hat by the standards of 1987. As a budget game, you're prepared to forgive it because there's lots to explore, there's lots to see and do, and this was $1.99. The one thing I will say is magazines, and we look at the Amstrad version now, such as Amtix, gave this a pretty similar score to Super Robin Hood that came out in the same month. No, this game is not as good as Super Robin Hood. Certainly not on the Amstrad. We reviewed that the other week. Super Robin Hood is a fantastic budget game with loads of polish, and you keep on coming back to it. Vampire, I know Vampire's got its fans, but it's incredibly harsh. No music on the Amstrad menu screen here. Must add, this game in Spain was originally called Phantomos 2. I don't know if Codemasters released this outside the UK, or if other software houses released it in places like Spain. I don't know. But for some reason, Codemasters ended up with the rights to this. And very unusually for a Codemasters game, there's no branding at all for Codemasters in the game. Usually they're all over the place with their branding. Which seems to suggest they got this game in, did minimal changes to it, possibly put that David Whittaker music on the C64 version, let it go pretty much as it was. Incredibly garish graphics here on the Amstrad. The Amstrad's got 27 colours. I know we're in 4-colour mode, but come on, they could have chosen some better colours here. And the sprite animation's not very smooth either. It's probably indicative of it basically running the Spectrum code and the usual slowdown you see because the Amstrad's larger screen memory needed. It's just a little bit ugly. It just looks a little bit Spectrum-y, a little bit more effort in here, and this could look far, far better. I mean, this screen here with the chair and the tables, what is going on with these colours? The green and the yellow, it just looks horrible. Jet Set Willy style noises when you jump up and down. That's pretty much it for sound effects. on the Amstrad. Yeah. The thing is with Vampire is all 4 versions are pretty much identical. They all play the same, all the differences are incredibly small. There's not much to choose between the Spectrum, the C64 and the MSX versions. Just pick up whichever version you have that computer to hand. If you've got an MSX to hand, pick that version up. If your C64 version's out, play that version. It makes no difference at all unless you particularly like David Whittaker music, in which case go for the C64 version. The Amstrad version is just a little bit too lazy port from the Spectrum. Just some more polish, just some better colour choices, and I'd be holding it up there with the other versions. Vampire is an incredibly difficult game. I know it's got its fans. I can't really stick with it. It's just that little bit too fiddly. That jumping's a little bit too annoying. And it's just a bit of a shame because with a few tweaks, Vampire could actually be quite a good game.